Nestled in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, there exists a lesser-known trail called Hallowed Ridge. Hikers speak of its beauty, with mist-draped trees and rocky outcrops, but few talk about its darker lore. Locals warn of the Watcher, a creature said to haunt the area since the early 1900s. This tale begins with two climbers, Daniel and Elise, who ventured to Hallowed Ridge for a weekend escape. The pair were seasoned hikers, drawn to the trail's isolation. As they ascended the mountain, a strange quiet enveloped the woods. Birds, usually chirping and flitting about, were absent. That evening, they camped near a rocky overlook. As they sat by their fire, Elise mentioned feeling watched. Daniel laughed it off, until he noticed something too, faint, rhythmic tapping echoing from the cliffs above. They dismissed it as falling rocks or animal activity, but neither could shake the unease. The next day, they pushed further up the ridge. They stumbled upon an old, abandoned cabin, its roof sagging and walls covered in moss. Curiosity got the better of them, and they stepped inside. Strange symbols were carved into the wooden walls, and a rotting diary lay on a dusty table. The entries were cryptic but spoke of the Watcher, a figure that walks between the clouds and shadows, hungry for the wandering soul. That night, their camp was far from the cabin, but Elise awoke to whispers. She swore she could hear her name being called, faint and distorted, carried by the wind. When she nudged Daniel awake, he dismissed her, irritated, and they both tried to sleep again. At dawn, Daniel was gone. Elise found his boots near a steep drop, but no sign of him below. Panicked, she searched and screamed his name, her voice bouncing off the cliffs. Then she saw it. High up on a distant crag, a figure loomed, unnaturally tall, draped in a tattered, dark shroud. It had no distinct features, just a pale, elongated head and thin limbs that moved with a jerky, unnatural gait. The Watcher tilted its head, as if studying her, and then disappeared into the mist. Elise ran, abandoning her gear. She stumbled back to the cabin, hoping to find some clue to what was happening. Instead, she found Daniel's journal, his last entry scrawled in frantic handwriting. "It sees us. It hears us. Run before it takes you too." Days later, a search party found Elise wandering at the base of the mountain, delirious and barefoot. She spoke of the Watcher and how it follows you until you're alone. Daniel's body was never found. Local authorities dismissed her claims as trauma-induced hallucinations, but hikers who ventured to Hallowed Ridge since then report strange phenomena. Disembodied whispers, tapping sounds, and glimpses of an impossibly tall figure watching from the cliffs. Legends say the Watcher isn't just a creature, but a force, an ancient guardian of the mountain that preys on the lost and vulnerable. Those who escape its grasp are marked, forever haunted by the feeling of being watched. To this day, Hallowed Ridge remains an alluring yet foreboding destination. Only the bravest dare to tread its paths, but they know better than to linger. If you go, keep your group close and never ever look up at the cliffs.